I'd like to talk today about how property is changing, because it is changing and most people in this country don't really like change. We prefer sort of certainty of the status quo, but there are important changes taking place in our property market, and we as property developers need to understand what they are and why they're happening, and therefore what's likely to happen in the future. So, what's going on in reality? Well, there's a number of things going on. A lot of them have gradually been going on over the last 20 or 30 years as the type of homeowner changes. People are getting older. We're noticing people are staying put more as well. It wasn't long ago that people would move house every sort of 6 to 8 years, but now it can be as much as 10 or 12 years before people change where they're living and move to a new home. Also, something we've noticed quite a lot recently is people, if they can afford it, are holding on to the house rather than sell it. So they might be moving to another property, but they hold on to their existing house and they let it out, which is quite an interesting idea. I call it putting all your eggs in one basket. I think it's very, very risky, but that's all to their own, I guess. We are also affected, of course, by markets and things like stamp duty, and the market's going up and down. The cost of moving has gone up. Depending on whether you're in a house worth sort of over £500,000, then stamp duty can be very, very high. And there's certainly areas where prices, if you go above 250,000, for example, for a 4-bedroom house, you can very often pick up a house for 250 that really, with an extension rate, would be worth 310, 315. So that's another effect that is happening. People are also starting to save money again a bit more and thinking more about the future. They know their pension isn't going to take care of them, and that's important. And we've noticed, certainly since 2013, early 2013, that construction is increasing. We're still not building nearly enough houses, though. We are million odd houses short of where we probably need to be with the number of households out there. More people living on their own, people not buying their first home until they're now in their sort of mid-30s. All these sort of things are affecting what's going on. People's investment criteria has changed as well, with more and more people are buying property for buy-to-lets, although very often they're buying blind and not fully understanding what they should be buying and what's the real requirement for buy-to-let property is. And what next? Well, we'll always have property cycles, we'll always have ups and downs. They're driven by fear, they're driven by greed and market sentiment. They're very difficult to really curb them. The central banks are always going to try, but you can never force people and people's thinking that much. You can't really control it. So that's going to never really end. Cycles tend to be every sort of 7 to 10 years, up and down from peak to trough. There is also going to be a greater requirement for family housing. There certainly hasn't been enough of that built. Too many flats in many parts of the country, not enough family housing. But it changes area to area, so that's why you have your trusted circle of advisors, so you know what's required in your area.